I think this is maybe the third time I have preached this psalm in sermons. Every time I change the title. I don't know, we kind of think sermons need to have a title, and maybe that's a good thing to kind of focus our attention. I have entitled this psalm before, "Fret not thyself because of evildoers." That's the opening line of the psalm and kind of defines what the psalm is about. I think the last time I taught this psalm, I called it a psalm of precepts and proverbs. There are 8 precepts and 14 proverbs in this psalm. And the difference is a precept is giving you some instruction. Now, this is what you need to do. You need to trust in the Lord. You need to rest in the Lord. You need to delight in the Lord. That'd be like a precept. But a proverb would be just stating a truth. And so you're going to see 8 precepts and 14 proverbs in this psalm. And 8 and 14, that's 22. There are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. If you were to take the Hebrew alphabet and says, I'm gonna praise the Lord with every letter of the alphabet, you might start off A, adore the Lord. B, bless the Lord. C, what would C be? Come before His presence with singing. D, delight thyself in the Lord, and go all the way down the alphabet. And that's sort of what David did in the psalm. He took every letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and you don't see this in the translation. In fact, it would be very awkward to even try to make that appear in our translation, but it's called an acrostic. An alphabetic acrostic. And each of these consists of about 4 lines. Now, that's not consistent all the way through. One of them just has 2 lines, and a few of them have 3. But it's pretty much 4 lines spread over 2 verses. And again, that's not always the case, because sometimes it's all within 1 verse. But it's precepts and proverbs going down. And I'll go through those as we go in the psalm. But I want to point out that this is the psalm where it says, the meek shall inherit the earth. Psalm 37:11. You're familiar with that from the Beatitudes, where Jesus said, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And this psalm can teach us what that means. What does it mean to be meek? And what does it mean to inherit the earth? And so we'll be looking at that as we get into this psalm. Here's, we don't know the situation. It's called a Psalm of David, but evidently it was written while he was growing old. I have been young, and now am old. Yet I've not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. You see the 4 lines? The 4 lines. But I have been young, and now I am old. Let's look at the precepts. We'll go through the precepts and precept number 1. Verses 1 and 2, for those of you in the parking lot. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. That somewhat captures the main thrust of this psalm. We see evildoers, and it just doesn't seem right. How come these evildoers are doing so well? And what evil do they have in store for me? And we might fret over that. And the psalmist says, fret not, fret not. God knows this. And they don't last long. I mean, they look like green grass, but they're soon going to wither and they'll be cut down. God's going to mow them down, you might think. Fret not, evildoers. Precept number 1. Precept number 2, verses 3 and 4. Trust in the Lord and do good. So we had a negative precept, fret not thyself, now positive. Trust in the Lord and do good. So shalt thou dwell in the land. Now I want you to watch the land and the earth in this psalm. It's the same word. It's just translated two different ways. But it's the same word in the Hebrew. You see, God had promised Israel their land. Through Abraham, He said, thy people will dwell in this land. And that came to pass, and they lived there. And so they're afraid that something's going to come and it'll take them out of the land. And that eventually does come. But then they're going to return to their land. And so keep that land idea and that earth land idea going through this psalm. And we'll notice that as we get through. So we'll understand what it means when we say they shall inherit the earth. We'll look at that toward the end here. But it says, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily shall be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and He shall give thee the desires of thy heart. Look at the parallel. Look at the parallel. What does it mean to dwell in the land and be fed? Well, the parallel there is the desires of thine heart. That's your heart's desire. And you will receive that. Trust in the Lord, delight thyself also in the Lord. You see the parallels running through this. That's a feature of ancient Hebrew poetry, is to lay one thought upon a thought in parallel, sometime in contrast, sometime in reinforcement, sometime it kind of advances an idea. And it's so beautiful because that poetry translates. It's a poetry of thought and not of words. We lose the acrostic here, don't we? And there's alliteration in this, where you take a sound and you play on the sound. We lose the sound of the words. I wouldn't dare try to pronounce all those Hebrew words, but if I did, you'd begin to hear a sound being repeated in there. But you lose that in translation. But the most important thing is the idea being expressed. And in ancient Hebrew parallelism, it translates. And so the beauty of that poetry comes to us in English. Let's look at the next precept, 3. This is verses 5 and 6. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. And He shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. You see that parallel in the righteousness and judgment, and the light in the noonday. So you'll be vindicated. People will see. It'll be in front of everyone. They're going to realize it and see that you've done good. He'll bring that forth. Precept 4, and this is found in one verse, Psalm 37 and verse 7. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Okay, there's only 3 lines there. But you see, even there, the parallel. Him who's prosperous in his way and bring wicked devices to pass. Rest and wait patiently. Just calm down. Don't fret. Have some confidence. And endure this. Wait patiently. Precept number 5, verses 8 and 9. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. You see evil people getting away with their evil and doing evil, and maybe the idea, well, maybe I need to do some evil. 2 can play at this game and get it and do your own little evil up against them. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off, and those that wait on the Lord, here's what will happen. Look, they shall inherit the earth. We'll see what that means. Now here's a proverb. This is stating a truth. It's not telling you to do something, it's just stating a truth. This is verses 10 and 11. For yet a little while and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth. That's what we'll return to. That's what the Lord said on the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the meek, they shall inherit the earth. And this is where it comes from. But the meek shall inherit the earth and delight themselves in the abundance of peace. Proverb number 2, verses 12 and 13. The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth on him with his teeth. Now, does that mean he bites him? Well, it could, but you've seen people just so upset they just grind their teeth. They're just gnashing their teeth together at them. Okay, the Lord shall laugh at him. He see his day's coming. You've heard that, hadn't you? But their day's coming. Their day is going to come, and the Lord's looking at the wicked so upset at the righteous, he just laughs. Their day is coming. We remember that. Here, Proverb number 3, verses 14 and 15. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and they have bent their bow. You bend the bow to string it up, don't you? Don't you, Ryan? You bend it, string it up. And the other way you bend it is when you put that arrow on that bow. And then that bow's bent so you can shoot better. So it's like he's got his sword drawn, he's got his arrow ready, he's ready to shoot. And they're doing it to cast down the poor and needy and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Now that conversation means an upright way of life. Their sword shall enter their own heart, and their bow shall be broken. Proverb number 4. Psalm 37, 16 and 17. A little that a righteous man hath is better than the riches of many wicked. Isn't that true? You see these rich, these really rich, look at them, these celebrities that get so rich and live such miserable lives. And people have just a little and they're happy and content. You know, the more you have to worry about. You ever thought about it that way? Sometimes we just get too much. Look at all of the storage bins going up. Well, people don't know what to do with all their stuff. And it's not that they own things, it's that their things own them. And so it's better just have what you need and be happy with what you need. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. Proverb number 5, verses 18 and 19. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. Okay, it doesn't mention the land of the earth, but that's what their inheritance is. Their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. Proverb number 6. This is in one verse. 37:20. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. You ever notice how when you're cooking meat on the grill, it starts to burn? The fat's what catches a fire and burns, isn't it? Before the meat starts to burn, the fat will burn, the oils. They shall consume into smoke, they shall consume away. Proverb number 7, verses 21 and 22. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. Now there's a parallel, but what a contrast. Could I borrow that? And then you never see it again. They're stealing it from you is what they're doing. They're taking it and they're not going to give it back. But what does the righteous do? Why, he's merciful. He gives it. Here, I give it to you if you need it. You don't have to steal it. Just ask me, I'll give it to you. And there's the difference in the wicked and the righteous there. So for such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. Proverb 8, verses 23 and 24. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. Why, the good man, he's glad to walk in the Lord's way. And the Lord's going to help him. If he falls, he's going to be there, catch him, hold him up, and help him along the way. Proverbs 9, verses 25 and 26. I have been young and now am old, yet I've not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Now, precept. We had 5 earlier. So this is precept number 6. Depart from evil and do good. Almost sounds like something your mother would tell you, doesn't it? Depart from evil and do good, and dwell forevermore. Well, if you supply the thought, you do dwell in the land forevermore. For the Lord loveth judgment and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever. But the seed of the wicked will be cut off. Proverb 10. This is just 2 lines in 1 verse. And the reason I know this, I don't know the Hebrew all that well, but I had some guidance here. My study helps. We're going down the alphabet. And so this comes to this letter, and that's what defines this proverb. And after these 2 lines, we go to the next letter. So that's kind of how we can divide these things out. So here we are. The righteous shall inherit the land and dwell therein forever. And that's just one alphabet, 1 letter of the alphabet there for that. Really, maybe even 1 line, but I broke it into 2. That's in verse 29. Proverb 11, verses 30 and 31. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of his God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. Proverb 12, verses 32 and 33. The wicked watcheth the righteous. Remember? Last week we was talking about those sins Jesus talked about, and one of them was the evil eye. That look of, I wish harm on you. You can tell by the way they're looking. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. See, the wicked, they're going to bring the righteous before the courts. The Lord's not going to condemn him. He knows the righteous. Righteous aren't condemned by the Lord, even if they are condemned by men. The Lord knows. Precept 7, another precept here. Verse 34. Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. Proverb 13. Verses 35 and 36. I've seen the wicked in great power, and spreading himself like a green bay tree. I just say, I'm not sure what the bay tree is, but I just see a tree just spreading out and flourishing. Yet he passes away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but could not be found. Go back, that tree's gone. And so sometimes it looks like the wicked are getting away and even prospering by their wickedness. But the Lord knows they're going to be cut down. They're not going to endure. Precept 8. This is the last of the precepts. Verses 37 and 38. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright. For the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. Well, you got the end of both of them. One of them is peace, one of them getting cut off. But you mark and note the perfect, the upright man. So use them for your example. And then Proverbs 14. Verses 39 and 40. The salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in time of trouble. And the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. Now, I want to go to this, blessed are the meek. They shall inherit the earth. This psalm tells us who the meek are. And don't think the meek are the weak. Sometimes we think meek is somebody almost like a little piglet over here, you know, just oh me, and they're just so meek and pitiful. But that's not the meek. The meek is one that has their faculties under their own control. That's what the meek are. And you see it in this psalm. They do not fret, verses 1, 7, and 8. They're not envious. They trust in the Lord. They delight in Him. They commit their way to the Lord. They rest in the Lord. They wait patiently for Him. They cease from anger and forsake wrath. And though evil abounds, the meek are righteous. They're perfect. They're upright. They show mercy and give. The meek man is a good man whose steps are ordered by the Lord. He speaks wisdom and talks of judgment. The law of God is in his heart. Well, the meek, it's not weak, is it? It's someone that is control of themselves. They have mastered themselves. And they have brought themselves into compliance with what the Lord wants them to be. And though all the things around them would take them away from that, they're steady and they stay right where they ought to be in this and deal with it. Okay, blessed are the meek. Look at the blessings. And I've highlighted those that have to do with the land and the earth now. But look at the blessings that come to the meek. Thou shalt dwell in the land and be fed. He shall give thee the desires of thy heart. He shall bring it to pass. He shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. They shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth and delight themselves in the abundance of peace. Their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time. In the days of famine they shall be satisfied. Such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth. Though he fall, he will not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand, and dwell forevermore. For the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever. The righteous shall inherit the land, and dwell therein forever. None of his steps shall slide. The Lord will not leave him, nor condemn him when he's judged. He shall exalt thee to inherit the land. The end of the man is peace. The salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in time of trouble. And the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them. Blessed, there's the blessings. Blessed are the meek. We know who the meek is. So what does it mean to inherit the earth? Well, it was easy in the psalm. God had promised them the land. It'd be passed down from generation to generation. That's going to continue. They receive it and they'll have their land and they'll have that blessing. What does it mean when Jesus said, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth? They already had their land. What's Jesus talking about? It's part of the Beatitudes. I've got the 8 Beatitudes up on the screen for those of you out in the cars. If you want to look them up, go to Matthew chapter 5. The Beatitudes. Look at the blessings of these Beatitudes. And I want you to know they are spiritual blessings. They're not material in nature. The poor, theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The mourn, they shall be comforted. The hunger and thirst after righteousness, they'll be filled. The merciful obtain mercy. The pure in heart see God. The peacemakers are called the children of God. The persecuted, theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And then here we have blessed are the meek. They shall inherit the earth. Are there spiritual blessings for everyone else but the meek? They're just given a physical blessing. Is that what that is? Now put it in context. Jesus is talking about spiritual blessings that come with the coming of the kingdom. Look what he says in Matthew 4. Jesus is preaching the gospel of the kingdom. In Matthew chapter 4 and verse 17, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. These are the blessings that were at hand that would come with the kingdom. Well, what are we talking about? Now, these Jews, they were an oppressed people at this time, and they were longing for that coming of the kingdom, and Jesus is telling them it is coming, and these are the blessings that will come with it, and they're spiritual blessings. And he tells them in Matthew 5, they're going to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world in this kingdom. You see, it was through them the gospel would go to the uttermost parts of the earth. Acts chapter 1 and verse 8. The Jews were scattered throughout the earth. And that's where Paul would begin his preaching, in the villages where he would come in those synagogues. And through them the gospel would spread to the world. It'll come to pass, Acts 2 and verse 21, whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. And the promise would be to them and their children and all them that are far off. That's everyone in the world. And I want you to compare that to what it says in Romans 4, verses 11 through 13. God had made a promise to Abraham that through his seed all the nations of the earth would be blessed. And without being able to go in detail into all of this, I picked out pieces to pull this together. Romans 4:11, faith was reckoned to Abraham for righteousness in uncircumcision. Abraham believed God, and God counted that faith unto his righteousness while he was still uncircumcised. Why is it important to know he was not yet circumcised? That he might be the father of all them that believe. Not the physical father, but a spiritual father for all them that believe. Those who walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham. And then he said this promise, that he should be heir of the world. Well, that's the promise when God said through him all the nations of the earth would be blessed. That's how he's going to be the heir of the world. All in the world who would walk in the steps of Abraham would be able to call Abraham their father, and they would all be his spiritual children. That's how Abraham's going to be heir of the world. And it says, it was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. That's how that is fulfilled. Abraham being heir of the world, and the meek inherit the earth. Those oppressed Jews would be the salt and the light of the world. And all over the world, those who would respond and believe and obey the gospel of Christ would be counted as their brethren and as the children of Abraham. There's no better way to inherit the earth than that. And that's what came with the coming of the kingdom. All those spiritual blessings that are found in Christ and that were promised to Abraham, those spiritual blessings are ours for the taking if we'll hear, believe, and obey the gospel of Jesus Christ. If you haven't done that, you have an opportunity to let them know you want to do that as we stand and sing the invitation song.